We, plural pronoun, objective us, possessive our or ours, ars poetica. There is no we that excludes you. We set out only to say something. No, only to mean something. It didn't matter what. Only meaning meant anything. What would it mean to truly mean what we said? To mean it fitfully, violently, transcendently, the way we jump off bridges and crash cars and limbs into other cars and other limbs, the way trees grow up and grow down at the same time. We wrote it down to pull it out of us, long rainbow handkerchiefs of guts spilling out and out, or we talked about it, even if we did not, as it were, actually do it. We were champions of the suffix, violent amenders. We were convinced the teleology of terminology was a dead end, that definitions could never be shared, that words did not mean. We did not always operate like this. Once, before language came between us like landscapes, like distance, once we believed that if we said a word and you heard a word, that they were the same word, meaning the same thing found in the dictionary and in our every exchange. We may not remember such a time, or may not claim to, but that barely means anything now. We existed in the era of ish. Our totem suffix marked imprecision and impermanence, the vague, existential what the fuck of it all. We decided, though there was no committee, no consensus of course, to never mind for the moment that our tendency toward ish, toward hedging, fudging, non-committal nods to the transient universe would be our downfall. Our violent acknowledgement of imprecision, of absent solid ground, would become an enactment of it, leading us toward lives that embodied painful transition and groundless shifting, that created new false floors from our own psychological trapdoors, telltale hearts thumping underneath to give us away, to stave off any chance of connection or purpose or hope or feeling, with the insistence that all was ish, could only be ish, until calling it made it so. We knew it was much easier to talk about what we would do than to do anything else. If only we were not bound by one constraint or another, poverty or tragedy or temporality or our own failed skins or a childhood too kind to us or a party next Friday night. This is how we would kill our darlings, with future tense. Someday we would really be alive. Someday we would really be traveling and living, and someday would be put off and off again. We would never age inside these cities. We would die, but we would never age. We were 20-something, we were 30, and still, we were telling ourselves that by the time we were old, people would live to be older. We were fascinated with our own faces, arms outstretched to capture ever upward-gazing self-portraits before parties. This is how we document the night. Not in the night itself, but in the looks on our faces before the night, or in its disheveled after. We were the best minds of our generation, staring at ourselves, a constant character study, a memorization, a fight to recall something that would never happen to us. We looked like idiots. We spent nights after the night had ended, back behind our screens, just where we began, following the computer trails of almost strangers as they sat at home following our computer trails. We carved out orbits of arm's length observation, yearning for contact. We are the pen you lent us, a matchbook held onto for months now, clung to out of boredom more than anything else except a fear of having our hands free. We are no good at standing still without a drink in our fist, no good at not lighting up, at not having someplace else to be, at not wishing you would say something else as you say whatever it is you say, whatever it is we do not hear through all our wishing. We are not good at going before the going gets however that expression goes. We are not good at remembering things, except the gestures and the phrases you left us, tongue in an ear for a time, tugging hair, a comment about or the politics of sleeping, exchanges made public record, later redacted or coded in checklists, appropriated letters we should know better than to read into, but will, the way ink bleeds on skin. We will absorb. We will not be content wherever it is that we are. When that wherever is near you, we will know better. We will know better than ever before how you will destroy us. We will hold on to it like a breath. The strange, nebulous almost of it will make pulses quicken from folded messages on stolen time. We won't know how to shrug you off for good, except by finding someone else to shrug us off, someone else who will make ripples in our world again. If they'll have us, if they won't make us too miserable, we will make them miserable instead. We cannot increase love in our universe without increasing misery and entropy as well. It's the law of thermodynamics that theorists forgot, that quantum way we have of never being able to get too much in our lives that is good. The way moving forward is also moving backward, as seen from the darkness of a space that contains all unanticipated angles. We throw our weight against all that is constant, the rushing speed of light against fragile bones, and against trees dropping flawed fractals on the ground. We are tugging on the light we know will go out, slippery chain, wanting to click. We know what is constant flickers and fades. We blink against our own relativity, its too tender photosensitivity. Our eyes will not adjust. We wait. The weight is hollowing. The weight carves stalactites from our stomach lining and makes the edges of night shudder. Still, we hover over messages, wondering what will boomerang back. We know the stars will disperse, and as we pass through other constellations, we will be pulled in all directions, drawn and quartered like the compass rose. We will board planes and have conversations we don't mention. We will take apart a past still fresh and hang it up in strips of film and come home smelling of chemistry. We are cutting room floors, frames snipped apart, meaning dismembered. We do this only to have something to lose, something to come untethered and trail away from us into the dark, something to long after. We may have lecture notes and slides, but we do not have the universe they attempt to explain. We do not have the very night that makes them what they are. We are merely a little bit of everything, which may be made almost entirely of nothing. Thank you.